Trying to spot the top bargains in any industry is the holy grail of any hardcore shopper. And sure, we're gonna find the occasional liquidation item or open box deal that's always fantastic. But what I'm talking about is scouring spec sheets and review sites to find that perfect sweet spot between performance and price. So to save you some trouble, we've compiled the top bargains from all the major digital piano brands out there and assembled them right here. And just for clarification, the definition we're using for bargain is the musical experience you're getting for the price you pay. Now we've also got links down in the description for all of these should you want to go and do some more digging. And remember, many of these already have review videos here right on the channel. So let's get started right away in alphabetical order with Casio. Now Casio CTS300 is a small, portable, inexpensive digital keyboard, and by far and away, the instrument that impressed me the most out of this category was for sure the CTS300. We've got pressure sensitivity, we've got a really decent piano tone, and a nice variety of sounds to choose from, plus this battery operated. Next on the list is the PXS1100. Now this model's been around for a year or two, but just looking back at the specs of this instrument, you realize just how impressive it is for the price being asked. This instrument is loaded up with hundreds of sounds. It's equipped with a decent set of speakers that really gives you a full spectrum tone. It's also battery operated, plus 88 notes and a weighted action. Compared to some of the other instruments in very close proximity in terms of price, such as Yamaha's P525, the PXS1100 delivers a massive punch for the price they're charging. Moving on now to the PXS6000. Now, the 7000 is what has gotten all of the attention over the last year. In fact, the 7000 even made an entry into the Rob Report. But I have to say, part of the reason that it's got so much attention is because the 7000 looks so good. It's really well built, it sounds great, and it's fun to play. But if we're just looking at what you get for the dollar, the 6000 is sort of the dark horse of the two. A very similar tone architecture, menu architecture, and generally speaking musical capacity is what you get in the 6000. It's a little more designed for, say, live use or professional musicians than, say, a home user, but the price is dramatically lower, mostly because you have the option of whether you want to buy that stand or not. So for getting some of the very top tech that Casio produces in the lowest cost base that you possibly can, and especially if you're a professional user and not too worried about the look in your home, the 6000, in my opinion, offers a stunning value. And then finally, getting into hybrid territory, the Casio GP 510 is still one of the least expensive instruments out there where you are going to get a fairly well approximated grand piano action in a digital piano. It is less than half the price of Kawaii's Novus 10S, which does have a full grand action, and certainly fractions of what Yamaha is charging you for the N3 series. So the GP 510 is definitely worth a consideration for people who really want the feel of a grand and want the option to enjoy several different sample sets from not just one manufacturer, but 2 or 3. With the 510, you get a great sample of a Bechstein, a Hamburg Steinway, and a New York Steinway. Next, moving on to Kawai. First up on my list is the KDP 120. Now this evolved from the KDP 110, and the KDP 110 became Kawaii's top-selling digital piano of the last 10 years, and the 120 is set to exceed that mark. It's equipped with a 40-watt amplifier, which is more sound than virtually any other model in this category, certainly exceeding that of the Yamaha YDP series. It's equipped with a really comfortable, robust action that delivers triple sensor control and includes individual 88-note stereo sampling. It has become one of the most popular student models that I'm familiar with, and I'm sure its popularity is set to continue for several years to come. Next on the list for me is the CN201. By moving up about 50% in price, we get a new action, specifically the RH3, we get new sample sets, we get new tone generator, and new signal processing, both in the form of its output speakers and the headphones. Again, I happen to think that the 201 has all of the right things prioritized if the point here is a fairly straightforward piano experience for those who are looking to go just a little bit more beyond a basic KDP 120 experience. Third on my list for Kawai is the ES920. On top of having what I have to say is probably the most impressive onboard speaker experience of any portable instrument I've played this year, it is also equipped with 4 robust sample sets to choose from: the SKEX, EX, SK5, as well as the K60 upright piano. The interface is really easy to use. It's equipped with the RH3 action just like the CN201, and yet remains fairly lightweight and incredibly easy to use. For customers looking for an all-in-one solution where the experience really is focused towards the acoustic piano use, the ES920 delivers where it counts. And then finally, the CA701. Now the 901 gets all the attention because of its industry-changing soundboard technology, but the 701 is quickly gaining fans, and with good reason. The upgrades from the CA79 to the CA701 are substantial. Redesigned speakers, improved amplifiers, improved action, as well as updated sample sets make the CA701 a stunning piano to play, with really the only difference between it and 901 being some of the warmth and presence you get in the lower half of the range because of that soundboard. Depending on the space you're in or the patches you enjoy using, I would say that the 701 and the 901 deliver extremely similar musical experiences, and of course at a nice enjoyable price discount. Let's move on to Roland now. Next on the list for me has to be the DP603. Now this model has been around for a little while with Roland, but still delivers, in my opinion, just a stunning value compared to the specs that it brings to the table. It uses the PHA50 action, has a full modeling engine in it, and a fantastic set of onboard speakers, which faces directly towards the player, giving you nice, clear treble as well as thunderous bass when you need it, all for a fraction of the price of what those specs cost you once you get it into a full cabinet. Now, of course, there's a few things that are missing for that price point. You don't get the full cabinet, you're not getting like a 6 or an 8 speaker system, but in terms of just signal generation, action, and overall responsiveness, the DP603 is really a value-packed package. Next up is Roland's F701. Now this instrument was released alongside the RP701 and at quick glance basically appears to be a twin with a different cabinet. While the reality is that the larger cabinet size on the RP701 actually does give it a slightly better bass performance, for all intents and purposes these two pianos really do have identical specs. The F701 comes with the new BMC chip architecture, driving the updated Supernatural piano engine. It also comes with the PHA4 standard keyboard, which includes a triple sensor and escapement, some really interesting tech for 3D headphone experiences, a very intuitive display with easy-to-use icons and navigation, Bluetooth audio and MIDI so that you can connect to apps as well as play your favorite music through the piano's speaker system. And it comes in 3 colors, black, white, and the very popular light oak. For players and families looking for an instrument right in that $2,000 sweet spot, the F701 definitely presents a great buying opportunity, particularly when you compare it to the price that Roland is asking for the RP701. Next on my list with Roland has to be the FP60X. Now, why the FP60X, not the 30 or the 90? Well, here's where I love the 60X. You've got all of the interface controls, or very similar to what you get on the FP90X, but because it's using the slightly lighter action and a slightly smaller speaker system, there's a major savings in both weight and price. And in most settings, I don't notice a big difference in the speaker performance, and I love the responsiveness and overall sonic experience of playing the FP60X. I think for people who are in relatively small rooms for their homes, or even out gigging and you want to be able to self-monitor with some speakers instead of needing an amplifier beside you, it works tremendously well. And as I said, the cost difference between it and the FP90X is pretty substantial, and there are few instruments on the market that are going to give you a similar pianistic experience to the FP60X for that price point. And finally from Roland on my list has to be the Phantom 08. I was quite frankly stunned at how capable this instrument was for its price. It does about 70% or 80% of what the full Phantom 8 does for less than half the price, delivers a great action experience, has a full Zencore and Supernatural two-way tone generator system in there, full sequencing engine, full sampling engine, full drum machine, plus every feature you could possibly hope for on a typical stage piano, including DAW integration and 16 zone control and presets. So for people who like a lot of what workstations have to offer, but just can't justify either the cost or the spend, please go check out the Roland Phantom 08. I think it's one of the top bargains in the entire piano business of any category at the moment. And then finally on the list, Yamaha. Now Yamaha makes a lot of great products, but just like the other brands, there's 4 here that really stand out as bargains to me. First on the list is the DGX 670. The DGX 670 was the follow-up to the very popular 660, and I think made a lot of meaningful improvements that make this an outstanding value for people looking for arranger functionality in a full 88-note keyboard. While the nuance of some of the sounds maybe isn't as sophisticated as what you get when you step up into workstations or even the more expensive Roland FP50, the 670 does a really great job of striking a nice balance of function and price, and I thought the aesthetic upgrades that they made over the 660 were a really nice touch. Next up on the list, Yamaha's P525. Not only did I really appreciate some of the changes and upgrades that they made over the 515, I also happen to think that the CFX sample set on this instrument is rich, dynamic, and incredibly enjoyable to play on. It's a great feel, it's got a really nice speaker system which presents clear detail and a nice tight stereo field, and you can tell instantly that you're dealing with a robust construction. Particularly when you take into account the price point of the 525, I think Yamaha has struck a really nice balance here. Next, the CLP725. Now the 735 gets a lot of attention, and I know there's a lot of comparisons often going back and forth between that and the YDP184. However, I happen to think that if the experience is primarily focused on just piano, the 725 delivers a stunning value. It brings with it the action upgrade over the YDP series, including escapement, and although the number of sounds on it are a little more limited than 735, if you're sticking to the main piano tone, I happen to think it's a superior playing experience over that of the YDP184 for essentially a very similar price, while giving you a better feel. And then finally, the CK88. Now this is a more recent product from Yamaha and is an interesting blend of some of their organ products as well as their more expensive YC stage piano. And essentially, they have picked and chosen some of the most popular features of each and combined it into a weighted 88-note stage piano. Given the difference in price between it and say the YC88 or some of Yamaha's CP products that don't give quite the same level of breadth of tone choices, I think the CK88 definitely meets my definition of a great bargain product. So there you go, everybody. There's our top picks for bargains out in the piano world right now. Those that are delivering, in our opinions, the very best performance for the lowest price possible across the top 4 brands in our industry. We hope you found it helpful, and if you did, please consider subscribing. Remember to check out the links down below if you want to go and dig a little bit further, or just search for some of the reviews on the channel. Virtually all of these pianos that we've mentioned have reviews to be enjoyed. We'll see you soon. My name is Stu Harrison. This has been Merriam Pianos on YouTube. Have a great day.